Hello and welcome back to the Reapers. So it's just me today and you lovely viewers. So what we're going to do is a full tactical debrief of last night's mission. Last night's mission was actually a repeat of a mission that we did at the beginning of our most recent campaign a couple of weeks ago. It's very simple. We have our blue guys at this base, we fly across these mountains, attack with the red base there, try and do as much damage to the red base as we can, and then ideally RTB. You'll have to excuse me, I'm not very well at the moment, so I'm just going to do the best I can to try and get through this. Now this mission has caused a lot of controversy in the Grim Reapers ranked. We had I didn't upload it to the internet, but we had a very emotional debrief yesterday. Lots of people angry at the mission and saying it was too hard and blah 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 blah. Basically that the odds were stacked against them. In some ways I think that's a good way to find that you've made a good mission when there's a lot of controversy and anger going on. So anyway, let's put the emotion aside now and let's stick to logic and empiricism and work our way through the mission. So I haven't seen this yet. I've got a rough idea of what happened because I had to replay the mission yesterday to get the video for YouTube, but let's follow it in more detail. So I figured because lots of things are going to be happening at the same time, we should follow one flight at a time and just blast through the whole mission in fast forward, and that way we get to see each flight. So let's zoom in here. We're going to have to skip time forward until stuff starts happening, and Cap is the first guy going out. Okay, so our mission tactics was that the first thing, we've played this mission before and we failed miserably. We realised that what we really had to do is take out the hostile AWACS. The red pilots at this airbase are completely reliant for their information from this AWACS, which is over here. So we decided the only way we can really do this mission is to take out the AWACS, to essentially cut off the eyes of these mirages, and then they'll be flying blind. The only information they'll have at that point is what they can physically see on their mirage radars, and that makes tactics very difficult because there's no one central guy organising them. Just to explain the rules quickly, the blues had one life, so if you got shot down, that was it, that was the end. The reds, they only had 6 guys to about 18 blues, but they could respawn, so i.e. once they've been shot down, they can almost immediately start taking off from their base again. So that was very important to think about in the tactics and the planning of this mission. Obviously it's not really very realistic, but that's just how we've got it set up. Anyway, so Cap's mission, which is sword flight, is to go and take down that AWACS. So let's zoom in, and already we can start talking about stuff. So the first thing is we can do 2 types of mission, at least in DCS. You get various other types of mission in real life, obviously, but you can have a tactical mission or you can have a ferry. A tactical mission is one where you can expect combat, and you can therefore expect to be driving your aeroplane quite fast at points. The other one, a ferry, is where you can expect to go a long distance and you'll be going quite slow, 400 knots or maybe less. And so that determines our payload. It's something I've wanted to bring up for a while. So because I'm going up for a tactical mission where I know I'm going to be going fast, I've taken only 2 bags or fuel tanks, so whopping great things that sit underneath the wings of the plane. If it were a ferry, then a ferry type mission, i.e. going for 1,000 miles, going slowly, I would have taken 3 bags. And that's quite an important point. So I still see a lot of people going up for tactical missions with 3 bags on instead of 2. 2 is what you should always be doing with a tactical mission, at least with an F-15. Other planes are different, but I specialise in this plane. Why is that? It's because essentially, this isn't quite accurate, but it's near enough. As the speed increases of a plane or any vehicle, the friction or the drag on the vehicle increases quadratically. So we could say that if we double our speed in our aeroplane, then our drag, which is the force that we're having to fight against all the time, quadruples. and so on. And that's very important. So if we're taking 3 bags for a combat mission where you're going to be going fast, it actually works out worse in the long run because of the extra drag that you're caused by taking the extra fuel tank. You're increasing the overall net coefficient of the vehicle, drag coefficient of the vehicle, by making it essentially bigger by having an extra fuel tank. Also, you're making the total weight of the vehicle higher, which means that you're having to fly at a higher angle of attack, which creates more drag on the wings. So what I'm trying to get at is important if you're an F-15 and you're going on a combat mission, take just 2 fuel tanks. That's the optimal set out for an F-15, as long as you're not, say, scrambling to fight immediately. So if you've got to do a little bit of flying in a combat mission, take 2 bags. If you're going for a ferry, where you're going slow and long distance, where air friction and drag is not as important because you're not going to be going more than 400 knots, then take 3 bags. That's the only time I want to see my guys, and I still see my guys doing it wrong every day. Just take 3 bags in that case. Anyway, I haven't explained that particularly well, but I hope I've got my point across. There we go. Now I'm taking off. Stop. Okay, now look what I'm doing here. This is what I call a combat climb. Combat climb is not the correct brevity for this. It's just what I call it. It's because a climb that you'd want to do when you're heading into combat. So what does that mean? It means it's the optimal way to get to a high altitude while retaining as much energy, i.e. speed, in your aircraft as you can with the F-15. You'll only do this, like I said, when you've got your 2 bags on, you've taken off, you want to get to height as soon as you can, which is what I want to do. So my mission is to take out the AWACS, so I want to get as high and as fast as I can, as quickly as I can. And I'll do this basically in every DCS mission where I know that there's combat coming. So how do you do it? Let me set it down to normal speed. I want to fly it, so assuming I've just taken off, then I want to fly straight and level, or possibly a slight incline up to 5 degrees, but essentially straight and level and low. And I'm going to go full power, burners on, and I want to get to Mach 0.96. You can see our Mach here, 0.89. You can tell which Mach you are at the bottom left of your HUD in your F-15. And I want to get to Mach 0.96. Now, I can't tell you why that's the most efficient number. It's just worked out by some geek somewhere with a computer. That is the most efficient climb velocity for an F-15, to climb as fast as it can while retaining as much energy as it can. When I say this is the most efficient way of climbing in an F-15, I don't mean fuel efficient, I mean it's fastest and it gives you the best outcome at the top with the maximum speed. So let's go along. So I'm plugging along 0.9, 0.91, 0.93, 0.94, 0.95, 0.06, and pull, and up we go. It doesn't want to be a sharp pull because you'll black out and you'll cause a lot of drag, so a slow pull. Now you want to be when pulling up between about 40 and 50 degrees. However, I like to exaggerate it a bit, so sometimes I go up to 60 or 70 degrees. It doesn't really matter. And what you'll see now is the speed is burning down. It's going down, down, down. The Mach is staying pretty much the same. We're still 0.9 Mach, but the speed is going down. Our airspeed is going down because we're getting altitude. We're at 10,000 feet now. And so we'll keep going until we make the decision that wow, look how steep. Okay, that is a little bit silly steep, but it still works fine like that either way. Okay, we've decided we've burned enough energy off. I usually go up to Angels 20 on the first hit. Then what we want to do is nose down slightly and build our speed up to Mach 9 again. So presumably this is how, when they were doing the altitude records and stuff like that with the F-15, they'll be doing something like this to get to the highest altitude as quickly as possible, time of climb. Anyway, so it's burners on, slight decline now, and we're building up to Mach 0.6 again. When we build to Mach 0.6, you'll do another pull up to Angels 40 or 50 or 60 or whatever you want to get to. And so that's how you repeat. So all you've got to remember is Mach 0.96, get that figure, do the pull, i.e. a little bit less steep than that, level out, slight decline, Mach 0.6 again, do the pull. I don't need to, I'm not planning to get any higher, so I don't do it in this case. But anyway, that's another thing we've covered now. My mission now is to get round the side of the hostiles. There's no point of going over the hostiles because I'm guaranteed to get shot down. So I'm going to splay slightly out to the side of the hostiles, and I want to get to Mach 2 or above Mach 2. So rather than doing another big pull, I've decided to start building up my speed here and skip this through, otherwise it's going to take ages. So I'm at 1.1 now. I'll still have my bags on at the moment. I'll keep them on, not until they run out, which would be the most fuel efficient way of doing it, but I'm going to keep them on until I decide that there's any possible danger. You can see I cranked to the right slightly there. It's probably because I've detected these two dudes here, which are a pair of mirages, which looks like they're coming out to intercept me. So I've turned right here. I'll be getting rid of my bag shortly. Now I've decided that there's some danger and I want to start pushing the speed up high now. I'm at 1.1 at the moment. That's pretty much as fast. I'm full power, pretty much as fast as I can get with my 2 fuel tanks on. Like I said, the drag of those fuel tanks is absolutely massive. So drop just those 2 fuel tanks, I can literally double my speed, for the reasons we spoke at earlier. You can see I've slowly worked my way up to Angels 40. That wasn't the most efficient way to do it. The combat climber is the most efficient way to do it, but I just chose to do that this way this time. We're at 1.2. I guess we're topping out now, and there the bags away. Not because I'd run out of gas, but because I was feeling threatened by these guys. Now I've got no idea where these guys are. We've got no kind of AWACS or anything to tell us where these guys are, so I have to have a guess from my radar warning receiver where they are. And the best thing in that case is to assume that they're close and they're dangerous. So what I've done now is I've got rid of my tanks, and now my speed is going to start to climb. So we're at 740 knots and Mach 1.3, and let's speed this through. Yep, these guys are definitely coming to intercept me now, and they've made a bit of a cock up there. The mistake they're making is they don't realise how fast I am. I'm at 1.6 now. It's very hard to intercept an aircraft that's going so high and so fast. It's full of so much energy. If I'd have gone straight over the target, they would easily have intercepted me, because these are pretty much zoom climb fighters. They can come up and get me. But with me splayed out 30-20 miles to the side here, to intercept me, their GCI shouldn't affect them towards me like they're doing now. They should have been vectored 20 miles out in front of me. That was the only way they were going to intercept me. So, and as it turns out, no, they couldn't intercept me. So I'm doing the right thing. I'm keeping my distance. I'm watching them, and I'm just getting as much energy as I can in the bird. We've just hit 1,000 knots. Look how slow these guys. They're trying to get up to my altitude. And let's have a look at their climb. Their climb was just a weedy climb. It wasn't a combat climb. It was just slowly going up. So they haven't done an efficient climb at all either. And that's put them on the back foot. It's not allowed them to keep their energy. They're very energy low now compared to me. Look at that, I'm 1100 knots there for 40 knots, and the Mirage is very fast, but it's never going to be fast enough to catch me up now. The only way they could have intercepted me was see me coming right back here, and then got their planes and positioned them here. This is a long time ago, it's too late now. Anyway, so let's carry on. It's the first time I've actually done this in an F-15, so it's quite a good learning. So I consider, look at them struggling, trying to catch up. Nothing they can do, and they're accelerating fast at 800 knots already. That's quite impressive. But what are you going to do? I'm Mach 0.04 now, and I'm going so fast and so high now. I can actually turn around the outside, and there's just nothing they can do. I'm going. Their missiles at the maximum speed. Their missiles are about 1900 knots. I'm going 1200 knots. So if they fired a missile, I would have no chance of catching up. Bearing in mind the difference. Now the good thing is as well, by doing this, as well as shooting down the AWACS, which is my task, and hamstringing them that way, I also keep these guys chasing me. If I keep these two guys chasing me, they can't go and shoot the rest of the blues down. So I've just cut the Reds' fighting force by 1/3, and it's important. Really, another important thing to factor in here now, that it's actually better to me to do this than to shoot them down, because if I shot them down, they would just restart immediately the base and go and kill some blue stuff. So this is the best thing I could have possibly done. Not only was I killing their AWACS, I was also full-time tying up these two Mirages. And these two Mirages, they're not as air superiority fighters. They can't go as long as this F-15. They will soon run out of gas. They'll have to RTP. So these two are almost tied up for the entire match by me. So That's some awesome tactics that we should learn for the future, and it puts the Reds in a rather nasty situation. The Reds are thinking now, right, do I want to tie up my 2 fighters, or do I want to lose my AWACS? So it's put them in this horrible situation, and the way it's panning out at the moment, they're going to lose both. They're going to have these 2 guys tied up, and the AWACS is going to be killed. Anyway, let's carry on. So that's pretty sound tactics there. It's good to see that stuff. Don't worry about this fight in the background. We'll go and review that afterwards. These guys have they've given up now. Essentially, I mean, look how fast I am now. I'm Mach 2.14. As far as I'm aware, Mirage can't even go Mach 2.14, even clean and low fuel. So these guys are now purely wasting their time, and I'm tying them up, and it was beautiful. So that was actually, I'm really surprised that was so good. Oh yeah, so finally the DCOs realised, DCO's ground coordinator intercept, it is the guy who controls the battlefield basically. He's realised these guys, there's no way they're going to catch me. They're completely pointless out here. Let's turn them back into fight. But I've tied them up for so long now that they've been taken out of the match. Great stuff. Now, oh dear, what's happened here? The AWACS started about here. And I was planning, I'm just running out of fuel now. In fact, I have run out of fuel. You can see my speed decreasing, not because I want to or because I think these guys have gone, it's because I'm out of gas. There's only so far you can go at Mach 2 for before you're out of gas. Now, like I said, this I planned it out and even done a dummy run before this to make sure I could get here and get to the AWACS. But they've moved it. We didn't plan for this in our briefing. We never thought they might be smart enough to move the AWACS out the way. Very frustrating, very annoying. Should they be able to do that? I don't know. In real life, you would be able to, wouldn't you? You would move your AWACS. You wouldn't just sit it still like a dummy. So I don't see why not. But anyway, that's the way it is. So there's not really much amount to learn here. I'm out of fuel. I'm trying to be as fuel efficient as I can, and to catch him up, I'm doing everything I can to lower my drag. Now I took a full complement of 8 missiles with me, and that was a bit of a blunder. I wanted to go and here, look, I've dumped my aim 9s now because I'm trying to lower my drag as much as possible, because drag is the thing that's holding me down. Now, I've got no gas, or very little gas, so I've got to do everything to lower my drag. Now, if I had gone back to the beginning, what I would have done is just taken 2 small missiles instead of a complement of 8 missiles. 8 missiles causes a lot of drag in the area drag coefficient of the plane and in the weight increase in the plane. The reason I took this is because I thought, well, what if I took all the missiles? What if I get my mission cancelled halfway through and I have to turn into a fighter, a superiority fighter, and start fighting? I would need missiles for that, so that's why I took it. In retrospect, I shouldn't have. I should have equipped just for my mission, just taken 1 or 2 aim 9s. That would have decreased my drag, severely increased my range and speed. Instead of topping out Mach 2.2, which I did, I could have got all the way up to Mach 2.5 or just below then, and I would have caught this guy up. Very annoying, very frustrating, but that's just the way it goes. So anyway, we'll finish this shortly. I'm trying to get rid of my drag, and 30 miles away, 26 miles away, and I'm fully out of gas now. There's no way I can shoot a hostile down that's cold and is 20 miles away, even if it's a slow arse AWACS. But I might as well just fire them at the end of the day. And look how close they were. It was so annoying. Oh, what a waste, and then I just RTB'd there. So, never mind, these things happen. That's a real shame. Now, after this, at this point, when I essentially failed my mission, the whole mission was screwed, basically. This was our saviour. Killing the AWACS was going to be our saviour. Now, this AWACS is still perfectly useful, whatever it is, 200 miles away here. Its radar can easily scan and still see most of the blue movements. So it was a perfectly active AWACS. So I've wasted way too much time on that. So let's wind back and now go and follow the next flight, which will be Dagger, I guess, which was the blue cap flight. So stand by as we go and look for Dagger. Okay, welcome back. We're now following Dagger. This is the blue cap flight. I think it was, let me pause that, 4 sea flankers and 1 F-15. I don't like that setup. I think air superiority, you want more F-15s than flankers, so I think that was a bad move by them. But that's their choice, so let's see them take off. Right, we're a couple of seconds in and already I'm pissed off. So I spend a huge amount of time teaching my guys, or telling them and ordering them to take off in formation, yet they've ignored me again and they've taken off essentially one by one. Is it realistic to take off in a big formation? No, it's not at all. Is it useful in DCS? I think so, yes. A, because it looks awesome and makes cool videos, but that's by the by. When you take off in formation, when you become airborne, you are essentially already together, and then it helps you and form into a group. And when you are up and you're airborne, you want to be flying around in formation, which is what I keep drumming into everyone of your group. I don't mean everyone together, because we're in combat now, but I mean keep your group together, because the leader, who is presumably Sherman in this case, he doesn't know where all these guys are. He has to just assume that they're in formation with him. If they're not in formation with him, then he doesn't know where they are. He can't make decent executive decisions. So already that's a fuck up. But let's carry on. So we're just going to run it forward. So they're going to get up. They're going to fly around in circles essentially until the blue GCI tells them to go and attack. Now this was already cocked up because they're basically waiting for me to shoot down this Hawkeye, this AWACS. It never happened, so as soon as they realise that my mission's screwed, that CAP's mission's screwed, they just have to send these guys in and hope for the best. Okay, they're 40 miles away from the target, hot, they'll be able to see them on their radar. Small criticism here, I like to have our guys, you see they've come in a bit of a weird formation. I like to have my guys together and in close formation until 40 miles away, at which point I will spread them out left and right. They've kind of done that, it's a bit minging, but okay, it's not the end of the world. They've also lost an F-15. He's somehow got himself lost somewhere, so that's just stupid. I don't know why that happened. Anyway, let's follow them in. Okay, they've got a lovely spread going on here, and that's exactly what I like to see. So they've possibly by fluke, I don't know, but they've created a front of blues essentially, and what we don't like to see is some guys in further than other guys and some guys lagging behind. What we like to see is essentially a wall of blue guys, and that makes it very hard for these red guys to fight. Because this guy here can only shoot at one hostile at a time, and this guy here can only shoot at one hostile at a time. Meanwhile, this guy and this guy, who are at the same front, at the same level, can come in and do the killing. These planes here, these blue planes, are a lot better than these red planes here, tactically speaking, because these are air superiority fighters. These have got 12 missiles, I think they're 12 missiles. These reds have only got 4 missiles each for each plane. The blue missiles for this aircraft, for the sea flanker, are a lot better than these missiles here for the reds. So these reds have absolutely no right to win this fight. Also, there's only 2 of them, at the moment at least. I think these guys might be coming in back here. So, and it regards the skills of the pilot, and we've got experienced guys. This guy experience. Same as the reds, they're also very experienced. So pilot skill even shouldn't play a part here. But what we're going to probably see is tactics making the difference. I get the feeling the blues will fight with little or no tactics. The reds will almost certainly fight with good tactics, and they'll probably end up winning the day. One thing you notice here is that the reds are going around with buddies. You've got these 2 guys here who are a pair of wingman buddies. These 2 reds here, a pair of wingman buddies, and the right of you, they're the other guys that were chasing me. Haha. They were wingman buddies as well. Anyway, let's play it through. So we've got a good spread from the blues so far, and we've got a missile out. So let's have a quick look at that. That is, he's firing at 20 miles. That's obviously not a kill shot. 20 miles, you wouldn't be able to kill anyone with any type of missile unless literally they just ran into the missile, which is very unlikely. So it must be some kind of posturing shot from Sherman to upset these guys. I hate these types of shot. I think they're just a full waste of missile. I don't see any point why you would do it. Because what are you actually going to achieve? These red guys are just going to see the missile coming. They're going to turn around and fly into the mountains basically, and then you've lost your target. You've then got to start searching for them again. I just don't see the point of it. Anyway, I'm not a flanker driver, so I'm not going to criticise too much. So he sent this kind of long-range posturing shot out, and so has Signore. Again, these guys are fully aware they cannot kill hostiles from 20 miles away, so they've sent their missiles out. The hostiles obviously have realised, and so they've gone cold. The problem is now that they've now got to chase these guys down into the mountain to try and kill them. Look at this guy. This guy was shot from even further away. They've now got to chase these guys down into the mountain. And you don't want to do that. An air superiority fighter really wants to be up high. So if it was me, I would have liked to wait until I actually got to a kill shot range, and whatever that is, about 8 miles or something like this. So it seemed a bit like panic shooting. This guy here is now hidden in the mountains, completely safe, and in a way has the tactical advantage. He's hiding behind mountains. He can pop up anywhere along these ravines and come and kill Sherman. Sherman is up here and he's essentially a sitting duck. He can't see this guy, whereas this guy will be able to see Sherman quite easily when he wants it. So again, a bunch of panic firing at this guy. Is there any use of that firing? Not really. He can obviously dodge it. It's just sent him down. You're going to just send him down into the canyon, basically. So let's see. We've had a second shot from Signore. Let's analyse that shot. Signore sent his 20-mile shot out here. Coffee's gone cold, or flanking, dodging the defensive, dodging the missile. We've got another shot out there at 12 miles. So what was this 12-mile shot, and why did it happen? Can he kill this hostile from here? So when you're flying in a mission, you don't really get much time to think. It's all done by reflexes that have been honed by previous experience and or training, and that's what this tactical debrief is. It's their training, because we can stop it like we've done now. All the time in the world we can sit and think, be logical, and make decisions. So bear in mind, he's already got a posturing shot on him from 20 miles away. Was a second shot at 12 miles, what was it trying to achieve? Could it kill that? Could it kill Coffee? Well, let's do the maths then. Assuming a 27 ER is roughly similar to an AMRAAM Charlie, which it's slightly long range, but essentially it's the same. And we know that if fighting a hot target, i.e. coming towards you at high energy at Angels 20, a kill shot is 10 miles or less, but 10 miles. And the lower you get, the lower the distance gets, because the missile is slower, because the air is thicker. So this is what I would be running through in my head if it was me. And then if we bring that down to sea level, it's about 6 miles, 6.5 miles for a high energy merge. We're up at what? Angels 12 to Angels 15. So what's the middle there? It's about Angels 14. Say that's the average here. So if we interpolate those figures, then it's about 8.5 miles is a kill shot on a target that's hot. This target is defensive, and Signore will know that because his HUD will tell him. So rather than 8.5 miles, it's going to be more like, because he's defensive, 5 or 6 miles, absolute best, to kill this guy. So why are we firing a missile at 12 miles here? That can't be a posturing shot because he's already got a posturing shot out on the way. It can't be a kill shot because it's twice as far as he can kill Coffee from. So this is why we do this, to know that was just a waste of a missile, essentially. You watch, it will go and kill him now. Yeah. It didn't have any chance of getting there, basically, and doing the job. So that's a thing hopefully learnt. So there we've got another shot. This time it's 9 miles on a target that's cold, and we're lower now. We've got this guy's at 4,000 feet. This guy's 12,000 feet on a cold target. Oh god, my brain's not working today. I can't do the maths, but it's going to be something like 4 miles is going to be your kill range on a cold target. So it's just another wasted missile. 9 miles is no use on a cold target down low. It's going to be 4 or 5 miles. That said, Coffee is relatively low energy. At least the good thing is, Signore's got high energy. He's got 800 knots here nearly. Coffee is very low, but still, this is a very easy missile to beat for Coffee to beat. Okay, he's just gone behind a mountain. Okay, so all Signore's achieved by just firing this huge plethora of missiles is he's forced Coffee into the mountains, and now, if anything, Coffee has a bit of the advantage. So to me, this just seemed like wasted tactics. Okay, what's Sherman been doing? Just like I said, look, Sherman was firing his posturing shots at this guy. All he's achieved is he's pushed this Mirage down into a better position. I bet this guy now pops up and shoots Sherman, but we'll see. Now it seems here that Signore's got target fixation. He's flying in afterburners full on, chasing this Mirage, and he knows he's not supposed to do this. There's no way you're supposed to follow a target when you know there's multiple hostiles. There's no way you should get target fixation, follow a guy that you know you're not going to be able to... Okay, let's do a quick logic check now. So, first of all, you've burned ahead of all your buddies, so you're out on your own. That's bad. So Signore had to make a decision here. Do I chase this hostile who's running away and just keep blatting missiles at him until maybe he crashes? Or do I do the sensible thing and turn back out of combat? So that's the option of chasing in after the hostile. The best possible outcome is that you kill the baddie, maybe he crashes, maybe you catch him up and get him with a missile. That's the best outcome. The worst outcome is that he leads you into a trap, that he organises his teammate here to come round and kill you while you're distracted. So that's the worst case outcome. Now let's look at the other option. The other option is that you've realised you're being, led on a turkey chase. You use your brain and you think, okay, there's no point of chasing this guy. It can only be bad. So let's turn around. Let's head cold, and you'll notice that when you see various missions in the past that we've done, when the camera is in Cap's cockpit, you'll see during Cap fights that I'll fire a missile, and sometimes even if I'm not getting launched on by a hostile, I'll turn around. It looks very boring, but I'll turn around, I'll fly away for 10 miles. I'll what I call resetting the fight, and then I'll turn back into combat and start again. There's only really two options essentially for this guy. You can charge in and just keep charging and keep charging and keep charging, and that almost always works out bad for you. Or you turn around, you reset the fight, and then you try again. That's what you should be doing. Anyway, sorry. So the second option is you can go back 5 miles, 10 miles, communicate with these guys, tell them that you're heading cold at a suitable point that is going to be different for different fights, but I would say about 5 to 6 miles, turn back in, reset, start again. No point of just chasing this guy. The chances of catching him up is extremely low. Okay, so I hope I've made that point. I tried to drum that in again and again. You don't have to just fly after things to try and get your kill on the scoreboard. It doesn't matter. What matters is staying alive and being a tactical use. And as well as an ideal thing for these guys to do would have been a rolling chainsaw. So Signore would have fired his missile at a suitable range, not 20 miles, but 8 miles, 9 miles, something like that. Then turned out, headed back, told his buddies he's heading cold, at which point Sherman comes in, fires his missile. Then Sherman turns out of combat, by which time Signore is coming back in. He's reset and he's coming back in to cover Sherman's retreat. Comes in and fires his missile, by which time Sherman is retreated, and you go round like the teeth on a chainsaw like that. It makes you an invincible fighting force. And this is why we've only give the blue guys one life now, to stop them doing stupid things like this by charging in and just wasting their life, wasting a valuable airframe. Anyway, I don't think I can dwell on that anymore because it's going to drive me nuts. So let's see. I guarantee this is going to end up bad. Sherman was a bit better. He didn't, get carried away and just charge in. At least he was trying to keep his situational awareness, although he's probably in a world of pain now because look, this guy can come up and kill him. So we've got more 20-mile shots, completely pointless 20-mile shots coming from Atomic in this case. So I guess he's going to... one good thing you could say about that posturing shot from Atomic is that it's going to keep these guys out of the fight for a while. So maybe it's a good shot, and maybe it's a good thing in this case. He sees these guys coming in, he says, right, I don't want them in this fight, let me put some long shots out that give them a warning and forces them down low. One small critique I have of these guys flying in formation, you can see they're just a few feet away from each other, so close within fighting range, is that they'll both get the warning from this missile here, because this missile's radar cone, this missile has a very small radar cone. It's not from the missile, it's actually from the jet, and it will ping both of those guys there, so they'll both think they're getting fired on from this missile, so they're both going to be put out of action. Right, Signore, like I said, he's got himself into trouble. It's all his own fault. He lost situational awareness, and he is now in a dogfight. You want to do everything you possibly can if you're in an air superiority fighter like this to avoid a dogfight. As soon as you're in a dogfight, all bets are off. It's you know, anyone can win this. And lucky, he was extremely lucky here. Look, you can see that should have been Coffee's kill. So Coffee dived behind this mountain here. Sorry, down here. Signori's lost situation awareness. He's also lost tally on his bandit, so he's just flying straight and level now and hoping for the best, which is the worst thing you can do. In the meantime, the Coffee, who's got good situational awareness and is being fed data from their GCI, homes in directly on him, and Signori is very lucky that he doesn't get shot down here. He just doesn't see Signori for some reason. But look at that, Coffee knows exactly where he is. No, he doesn't. I thought he did, maybe not. We've got more long bombs, more 20-mile missiles, and in this case, hey, that's pretty good. It's keeping these two guys out of the fight. These missiles are never going to kill anyone, but tactically, that's kind of useful. Okay, and Signori's completely screwed up now. He's literally gone past this guy. He's now seen these guys, decided to go and fight them, and he's now being chased by Coffee. This is only going to end one way. He's done well to survive this long, actually. There's stuff up here. I don't think it's worth analysing. It's more long shots, basically. Recoil's done really well to dodge all these missiles. He will get shot, though, because he's not I don't think he's dodging hard enough. Signori still alive somehow. Amazing. Yeah, so recoil, he dodges missiles, great, and then he carried on, and that is, I guess, how you have to work in a Mirage. If it was me, I would have liked to have seen my fighter turn right out to dodge that missile rather than charging in, and he's going to have an R-73 on him, really good missile, and that's guaranteed to take him down. Splodge. It's good. That's distracted him enough for this guy, Udoroso, to come in and do the kill. Come in and attack Sonic Dust. That's probably going to be a hit, and it is. It was only going to end one way. That's what, 5 miles when a hot, high-energy target. Very little Sonic could have done. He's pulling a 9G probably. He's got his countermeasures out, but there's very little you can do to dodge such a high-energy missile so close. So that was going to happen. And somehow Signori survived. He's like Wonder Kid. He's done everything wrong, but he somehow survived. And he's now going to shoot someone down. Fair play. Okay, so we've seen this before, and I'm going to have to say it yet again. So Signori's found a bad guy he wants to kill. He's 1 mile. That's damn close. This Mirage is right in his cockpit. And it's a nice easy shot. So what he's done is he's launched a long-range, low maneuverability missile, radar-guided missile at this hostile. It has almost no chance of hitting because he's so close. Look, he's 4,000 feet and the missile's just left. It won't probably even become active until it's past this. So it was a completely wasted shot. He should have fired, obviously, a close-range missile, a maneuverable close-range missile like he has, which is to say an R-73. So it was just the wrong missile at the wrong time, and it hasn't even really attempted to try, hasn't even really become active by the time it's past him. So that was just bad missile choice. And he's got himself into a dogfight yet again. Let's run this through then. Okay, let's try and analyse this. Let me get it right. So, now, the good thing is he's managed to get essentially on the 6, although look at that pull, a really, really tight pull from Udorosa there. So Udorosa is yo-yoing high, and he's going to want to turn as tight as he can to get on the rear end of this flanker. Look how tight he's turned there, and look how slow he's got. And look at that, that's a masterclass. Brilliant. Goes up for the high yo-yo. And let's go and have a look at that again, because that's great. Signori is bailed out. I'm not sure why he's bailed out at that point rather than following on, but maybe he's lost visual or something. And then Udorosa comes back out of the yo-yo behind the flanker, and he's got a kill shot. So that's absolutely fine. So he won that. Great. Why was this flanker even in a dogfight? He should never have even put himself in that dogfight. It's just bad. Now, let's go and look at some of the other stuff, some of the other fighting that's been going on. Stand by. Right, so just reviewing the rest of this big fight. Now, I don't seem to have got the idea of what this mission is about. So this mission is essentially these red guys. As soon as these red guys, and they're very well aware of this, as soon as these red guys are shot down, then they restart immediately from this base. Our job is to attack this base. So the worst thing you can do in this mission is to shoot a bad guy down, because it helps them. It immediately gives them a fresh respawn with a fresh plane, with new fuel, full missiles at the base which they're trying to defend. So if this guy, Coffee, gets shot down, he's happy. It's exactly what he wants. It helps him defend his base. The Blues don't seem to have got their head around this. Their job is not to shoot Mirages down. Shooting Mirages down helps the Reds. We had even one guy complain that he got all these kills in the debrief, complained that he got all these lovely kills and his score chart was so high, yet he felt like he didn't help the mission at all. Well, yes, that's exactly right. The more Mirages you killed, the more you were hurting your own team, because you were just giving the Reds more fresh Mirages. That we shouldn't have been, these guys, what are they called, Dagger, shouldn't have been charging in, desperate to get in dogfights, desperate to get their kills. That all their job was to do, in reality, and I brought this up in the debrief, just shows that no one listens to my debriefs, and to the previous attempt of this mission. And I said very clearly then, don't go in and kill the Mirages. Don't kill the Mirages. Keep them busy. It's very easy to keep Mirages or anything busy. It's much harder as well to kill them. To keep them busy, all you've got to do is, it doesn't even have to be organised, a chainsaw technique. It can be very disorganised. All you've got to come in your front, your lovely organised front like you did, great, fire some missiles at a sensible range, not 20 bloody miles. You're just going to cause more problems. Come in, fire some sensible range missiles, 10, 9, 8 miles, to send those Mirages cold. Then don't chase them in and get shot down. Turn around, turn your flight back. And then when you're 10 miles, 20 miles, whatever is sensible for the mission, turn back in. Fire another couple of missiles. The Mirages would have reset by then, essentially. They're back up, they're coming to fight, looking for you again. Fire another couple of missiles, send them cold. This would be much more, I imagine, how real combat would be. You wouldn't be charging in like this guy here, trying to desperately get in the dogfight. And you could have done that all day long. You got 12 missiles on each of these flankers. You could have done that. Only 4 missiles on these Mirages. You could have got rid of all of the red missiles. Then they would have had to have RTB. They wouldn't have died. They would have had to have flown back to base, refuel, re-equip their missiles. It would have completely taken them out the fight. A bit like I did out there. I took them out the fight. That was the best thing we could do. But instead, they want to kill them. So, to the guys that were complaining that they got their big score chart, but the mission didn't go very well, it's completely your fault. You were doing the wrong job. You were helping the Reds by killing them. So it's important to think tactically about what you're doing based on the mission parameters. So, anyway, I've said that. Where this is taking way too long, so I'm going to try and hurry things up now. Anyway, Sherman's found this guy here. I don't know how he did it, but he did it well, because I would have no idea that this guy would have snuck up behind me. And Wolf Shadow did well. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. Got fired on, went low, used the terrain. None of the Blues have used the terrain. They weren't supposed to, really. They're a high-level cap flight. This Mirage, and he snuck up behind Sherman, and it should have been an easy kill for Wolf Shadow, but Sherman, who's a clever guy, he's figured it out. So let's see the fight and how it goes. Sherman, he knows he's there, he's trying to find him, and that is, let's set this fight up. Okay, so here we go. We've got Wolf Shadow coming in. Now Wolf Shadow is the most experienced out of all of us. I'm not allowed to say what his real life job is, but suffice to say he knows what he's doing. So he's thrown his Mirage in, he snuck up on Sherman. Unluckily to him, Sherman knows that he's there, with a 6th sense or something, and Wolf Shadow, look, he hasn't fired 20-mile missiles at Sherman. He's got himself into a situation where he knows that he can get the kill. He's waited to take the shot, and he's going to take the shot. 4 miles, and that's a kill shot. 4 miles is well within parameters for a kill shot. Hot, medium altitude, what's that, 8 miles, 8.5 miles is a kill shot. He's done it at 4 miles just to make sure he can get the kill. Sherman has no right to survive this. Sherman has fired an ET missile, which is a great shot. He didn't really need to use an ET. He could have used an ER. I don't think it... Well, no, that's fine. He knows the flanker better than me. But he got a shot away, which is great. And well done, Sherman. Excellent killing. And is he going to dodge this Matra? He has. He didn't really dodge this Matra. This is a Fox 1, so it needs the mothership to be alive to track. So the mothership, as soon as the mothership was dead, this missile was dead, essentially. There was no way he would have actually dodged that missile if the mothership was alive. So it was a great snapshot there by Sherman to seal the fight. It really should have been Wolf's fight, but that's just how it goes sometimes. So that's good flying there. Though, like I said, he shouldn't have been in there fighting anyway. He should have been way back there. You know, there's no need to be in here trying to kill this guy. Anyway, that's by the by. Let's run it through. So we've got more stuff to look at, more lovely stuff over here. Look, I also quite like Sherman's resistance to charge in like a crazy man. You see, Signora is a crazy man. He charges in, gets himself into trouble. Sherman doesn't do that. He holds back. He be conservative. And so he's holding back, and he's benefited from it. That's good. That's what I like to see. There's no reason to charge in like these two are to go and kill these guys. There's just not really any point. Anyway, we're going to start analysing this fight. So we're looking at Sonic and Atomic versus Urarosa and Recoil. So we've got a long posturing shot here. We decided it was a pretty good idea because it puts these guys out of play. And let's see what happens. Relatively high energy, not amazingly high, but again, these guys are also lucky that Coffee lost his bearings there, lost his marbles. So the Mirages are now, they're happy they've defeated the missile, and they're going to come in and start attacking. We've got a missile out there. Let's have a look at that. So that is, very roughly speaking, from Sonic, that is about a 10-mile shot, quite low down. It's a little bit ambitious, I think. As we discussed, where are we? We're Angels... Oh no, this guy's up high. So you've got Angels 20 here, you've got Angels 14 there, Angels 10 there, and Deck there. So very roughly interpolating there, a kill shot is about 8 miles, something like that. So it's a little bit ambitious. It's got a couple of miles too long. If you'd have waited 2 more miles, that would have been a kill shot. Easier said than done, obviously, because we can stop it and think about it, but that's why we do this. So the missile, it probably won't kill anyone because it's slightly out of kill parameters, and Recoil has indeed dodged it. Now Recoil's on a bit of a mission here. He's a bit like Signore. He's charging in to get his kill, but it usually ends up in you getting in trouble. So Atomic has lost situational awareness. I think he's up here, and he doesn't seem to... Obviously, he's only 3 miles from this guy. He should have shot a while ago to kill him. So, well, make of that what you will. Now, Sonic, on the other hand, has kept his situational awareness. He knows exactly where this guy is. So his first missile, although it didn't kill him, it put this guy on the defensive. It put Recoil on the defensive, and it's very hard for Recoil then to snap back into action to get a shot. This guy locked up and to get a shot off, whereas Sonic is in the driving seat here, and he knows exactly what to do, and that's an R-73 at close range. It's the perfect missile for that range. Going to be very hard for this guy to dodge that. And he didn't even see it coming. I think Recoil was so confused from doing all the dodging earlier on that he didn't realise, it didn't even, he wasn't aware that missile was coming. So that's a pretty good show, and I think we've seen this bit already. Yeah, so basically, Sonic was busy with Recoil, and because of that, Urarosa had a free hand to come in and attack Sonic, because Sonic had lost his situational awareness as soon as he's got a kill, essentially. Essentially. This guy here, Atomic, had completely lost a situational awareness of Sonic, and he knows exactly what to do, and that's an R-73 at close range. Very going to be very hard for this guy to dodge that. And he didn't even see it coming. I think we've seen this bit already. So the battle. It was really, in this case, his job to be protecting Sonic and take out Odorosa. So that's unfortunate, but I guess that's how it goes sometimes. So that's that. I think that's all the fighting done pretty much, or maybe not. Let's quickly see it through. Where did Sherman get to? Oh, look at that. Great flying by Sherman. That's a good example. He came in, he did his fight, he got way too close for my liking to the hospital, but he did his fight, and then rather than just charging into battle, he came back to reset the fight. Exactly what you should be doing. Well done, Sherman. That's great. And if only they'd all been doing that, then this battle would still be going on after 10 minutes or 20 minutes or however long it's been, and they'd still be doing their job of tying up the mirages. Anyway, the F-15 has finally caught up. I don't know what his problem was, but obviously he was struggling. Now there's a great opportunity. I know we shouldn't be killing these mirages, but it's fun to kill them, so let's go ahead on that basis. So this guy here, Coffee, is chasing Atomic. Atomic's going a little too high and fast, so this guy can't catch him up yet. And now I get the feeling Coffee's going to be concentrating on this guy here, and Ignitus can come in and get a nice AMRAM shot. Okay, so I don't know if this was planned by these two, probably or not. It may have just been coincident, but what they've done here is essentially created a tiny chainsaw. It's perfect technique. The Atomic is going cold, and he's bringing the baddies with him. So the baddies are concentrating on him. Meanwhile, this guy can come in unopposed and blast them out of the sky. So probably by accident, great tactics. Now Ignitus is at 8 miles here. He's probably got this guy locked up. Where are we? Angels 20 and Angels 8. Let's interpolate that. 8 miles or so is a perfectly acceptable kill shot with an aim 120 Charlie. So let's see if he does that. And Ignitus is very experienced. He knows what he's doing. And look at that. Well, 7 miles. Bang on the money. That is going to be very hard now for Coffee to dodge such a high energy AMRAM. The missile's on rocket mode now, is accelerating. Coffee's gone on the offensive there. He's oh no, okay, right. So it turns out that Ignitus was actually shooting at this guy here. I thought he was shooting at Coffee. If it was Coffee, he would have been dead. Obviously, it was this guy back there. So this missile probably won't kill this guy, because that probably would have been a 15-mile shot or something like that. So this guy should be able to dodge that AMRAM, really. Coffee has fired a missile, but he's probably get a warning from this AMRAM, so I think he's about to go cold. Let's see. It's a bit of a weird fight, this is. No, he's not going cold. And he's going to kill Ignitus here. It was a 7-mile shot or something like that. Nothing Ignitus did. Ignitus is doing everything right. He's done his big 9G turn. He's done the dive to keep his energy as high as possible. He's got a little bit slow for my liking maybe, but hang on. No, he's not. True airspeed is 600. This is really deceiving here, this number here, so we'll stick to this number here. 650 knots. He's done everything right, but it was a 7-mile shot from Coffee. You can't beat physics, and of course he's down. This guy here should be able to dodge this missile. It's about 15 miles. Let's see. AMRAMs are a good missile. So he's put his angles in. He's put his countermeasures out, and that's mission. That's speed. So it's great to see all the things happening as I say they should do. That guy should be able to beat this missile. That guy should be able to beat this missile. This guy should not have been able to beat this missile. And it reinforces the logic of taking correct shots at the right time. So that's good stuff. This guy's dead now. I'm not going to bother following it. Any more fighting? And here we go. Look, and here's why it's so important to exit the fight and reset. Because Sherman, he's exited the fight. He's got his bearings back. He's calmed down. He's got situational awareness back. Now he can go back into the fight to help his buddies. And it's exactly what he's doing. Look, so again, we've got a bit of a chainsaw going on. We've got Ignitus, although he's essentially out of the fight. He's luring Coffee this way. Meanwhile, Sherman can come in and do the killing on the overlap. Let's set this up. Okay, so Sherman has taken a 9-mile shot on Coffee. Both aircraft are energy high. They're both over 600 knots. You've got Angels 12 here, Angels 6 here, so the halfway point is what, Angels 8? No, Angels 9. Angels 9 interpolated, that means about an 8. It's about an 8-mile kill kill distance, basically. And so it's slightly above. He's done it at 9 or 9.5, so it's slightly above. I would have liked to have seen Sherman get a little bit closer, maybe, bearing in mind that the altitude's relatively low. So Coffee is on edge here. He might just dodge it. He might get hit. It's a bit hit and miss, this one. Let's go and follow it through. Coffee is energy high. He's got the warning now. He's reacted a little slow, so Coffee would have got the warning that this missile being fired right from when it left the mothership, and it's taken him all this time to react to it. So he may have been thinking it was an old warning from an old missile or something. And at this point, he's gonna struggle, unless he can terrain master. He's gonna struggle to beat that missile. But he has. Yep. So he just went low enough. He just pulled enough G's. But Sherman's kept his eye on the target, and because Coffee was going defensive, Coffee couldn't fight back. Essentially, Sherman's managed to keep an eye on him, which is good. It's hard because look at that terrain there. Coffee just wasn't quite low enough, and so Sherman is now in for a kill shot. That's an ER at 3 miles. Great range for that missile. Almost impossible for Coffee to dodge now, even though. Oh wow! Look at that. Okay, so. One good thing we can notice here is that Coffee has managed to, even through all this dodging, Coffee's managed to maintain his energy high. He's still over 600 knots, even by doing whatever that was, probably a 9G pull, and his countermeasures. He still managed to keep 600 knots. That's energy in the bag that is going to allow him to beat this missile. And this missile is a very hard missile to beat. It's coming from a very high energy mothership. It's going already 2,000 knots. It's extremely difficult to beat, but he can do it because his energy high. He's got energy to play with. Boom! That's a big 9G turn probably that's going to find Coffee. What was he peak at? Yeah, 8.1. Yep, so it's nearly a 9G turn, which is bang on the money, and that's how he's managed to beat that with some countermeasures. So there's good flying by both of them, basically. Nothing really to criticise here. Now it's whoever can get the snapshot off quickly with an IR missile is going to be Sherman, because he's got the better posture here, and eventually the Mirage dies. Great flying by both of them there, in all respects. So great show. Okay, so Sherman's done his kill. He's now turning out cold again to reset the fight, and so is Atomic, which is great news. Now Sherman gets a warning that this guy is in play. And this is probably going to be the undoing Sherman, because if you're going to turn around, if a hostile is chasing you, and you want to turn around and shoot at him, you've got to make sure you've got plenty of distance for you to be able to turn around. It takes several seconds to turn a fight around and find a target. So you've got to make sure you've got a good 20 miles, distance between you. So if this was me and I knew, Sherman probably didn't know how close this guy was, but if you knew how close this guy was somehow, and it was this close, then don't turn around. You haven't got enough time in the world to turn around and fight this guy. Instead, go out, run away, and then turn around when you're further away. This guy's very energy high. Look at that, 700 knots. Anyway, let's set this up. So, yes, so Sherman's doomed. He's 6 miles away. Probably doesn't know how close this guy is. Let's play it through. It's an easy kill for this Mirage, basically. That's 5 miles. Get a Matter out. Get a radar-guided missile out. This Mirage should do. Leaving to the very last minute. Don't know why. Maybe his Winchester. He's not firing. No idea why. Finally, at 1.8 miles, he decided to fire. I would have fired way back at, 5 or 6 miles or something, but he really wanted to make sure of the shot, and that's fine. Missile out. Nothing Sherman can do at that range to dodge. Way too energy high. Although amazingly, Sherman, now because this Mirage waited so long to fire his shot, he really wanted to make sure it was a kill. The danger is that the hostile can get a missile out in time, like we saw a bit with the Sherman fight earlier on. The guy gave Sherman a little bit too much time, and if you give him too much time, Sherman can get a snapshot off, which he's done, which was great, and it's probably going to be a double kill. Neither of them had any right to dodge those missiles. There's literally nothing they could have done to dodge those missiles. So both made mistakes. This guy waited too long, gave Sherman too much time. Sherman turned around when the guy was too close, although to be fair, Sherman had no way of really knowing where that guy was. So there you go. And I'm pretty sure that's the end of Dagger Flight. And it is. So loads of stuff. I think this guy goes in and does some more shooting, but I don't think anything comes of it. He just runs away, and that's fair enough. I mean, annoyingly, Atomic was struggling this day. I think he had some technical problems, hence why he didn't really get into the fight. But he probably did for the mission the best of all, because he did no damage to the Mirages. He didn't shoot any Mirages down, but he did shoot lots of missiles at them, and he did keep them very busy. Look, here he is again. He's tying up two Mirages chasing Atomic round, and he's not charging in. He's not desperate to get into a dogfight or desperate to get his kill. He's running away, exactly like he should be doing, because he's tying Mirages up. So well done Atomic in that case. Good fight, and he survived to the end as well and saved it. Look in. So when he's determined he's safe, so he's gone back out. He's reset. When he's determined he's safe, he's gone back in. He's taken a shot. This is a stupid shot. It's a 20-mile shot, but it keeps the guy busy. He turns around again. He's out. He'll reset again. He'll come back in. So that's actually some really good flying by this guy. And I think that's definitely the end there. Right, I'm aware of taking way too long, so the rest of the flights we'll do real friggin' quickly. Right, so next is Vegan flight. Can't remember what they were called. And the Seed flight, which was Shifty. And I think it was called Cutlass. So let's just generally go and follow them through. So what are they doing? Well, oh, there's 4 Vegans. I didn't realise there was 4 Vegans. Okay, 3 of them are doing their job right. 3 of them are going through this canyon. I don't know why Trash is so high there. That's bad flying from Trash. I would expect Trash to be right in the bottom of that canyon. The lower you are, the harder you are to A, see by an enemy, and B, be picked up by an enemy radar. Keep low. All Vegan drivers should know that. Keep 50 feet off the deck. It increases your survivability by a huge amount. So these guys are doing good. I'm not sure what happened to Static. She's just appears to have got lost. Well, or going her own path, but well, fair enough. I won't criticise, you know, it's what she's decided to do, that's fair enough. So let's play this through. Now, the good thing about Dagger doing their whopping great fight here up here is that they've tied the Mirages up. And they've tied the Mirages up, and they've allowed the these guys, the Vegans, to get through. Look, there's no opposition to the Vegans at all. None of these Vegans have a right to be shot down. They should be able to get in close now. Style's going a bit weird now. I think they've just got lost at the end of the day, which is a bit silly. But there you go. Sadic's doing really well. She's weaving in and out. Unfortunately now, because these Mirages have been shot down, they've now respawned here, and they can now take off and attack the Vegans. Now, there's some good has come of Cap chasing this Hawkeye away. That is that the Hawkeye, which is usually stationed here, has lost line of sight of these Vegans. So, in a way, I've kind of done my job. These Vegans can now not be seen by the Hawkeye. So these guys here, these Mirages here, are going to have to find these Vegans on their own merit, which is difficult. Anyway, let's carry on. And they've kind of split up, and I wouldn't criticise that. I mean, it can increase their survival. Oh my god, really? This dude just crashed, really? At this level. Who was that? Stahl? Okay, one of our guys just ran into a mountain, so there you go. Anyway, these guys are going. They've decided to go around the side here and attack from this way. And maybe that's the right thing to do, because look, these guys here, they know there's hostiles around here, but these red guys can't find them because the blues have gone around the outside. So that's fair enough. Oh no, Static's got lost. Static has actually got lost and is going the wrong way. That's annoying, but okay. So criticism here, navigation of the Vegans was a bit weird. Now let's look back at Shifty. That's Cutlass. He always does his job correctly. He's a very mature flyer. You'll never see him running in and making rash, silly mistakes. So he's hovered out here. He's waited until the Mirages are pushed back to the base, waited patiently, and then got the missiles off, probably in coordination with the GCI. Everything is great here, and these missiles are going to hit just as the Vegans are coming in. Maybe they're slightly, tiny bit too late, but you know, apples and pears. That was good flying. Anyway, let's carry on. So Static's doomed. She's literally going the wrong way now. But at least Stahl and Trash have got through. Great. and there's no way that these recoil or anyone could find them because the AWACS is 200 miles over there. So I've seen this in the movie. They get through and they do damage, which is great because that's what the mission was all about. And it's not really. Look at that. The time, just 30 seconds too late. These missiles were. Never mind. Loads of damage done. The whole runway was took out. If you remember from the movie, trash coming in just to add some more. This guy fought an area, he scrambled. But because he doesn't have the information of where the vegans are coming from, it's too late. And these vegans can die now. Yes, we would like to get them back to RGB, but once their bombs are released, they've done their mission. And they will get shot down, and do get shot down, as we know. So the vegans, there's very little they can do to survive now, other than rely on their speed. Unfortunately, Mirages are also extremely fast. And he's surrounded by Mirages, and that's the end of Trash. Great job, Trash and Stahl. They did their job. And Trash is still going. You stubborn German bastard. And that's the end. He nearly escaped there. Really fast as Vikings are. He could almost have escaped. Oh, and Static's finally coming back towards the target. And she just gets shot down. She's a little unlucky here. Look, these Mirages are all already in this pipe, and so they've seen her, so she shouldn't have got lost in the first place. If she hadn't got lost in the first place, she would have made it straight into the base and bombed the base. So nothing else to say there. We've done Cutlass, only 2 other flights to go, which is great. It means the video's almost done. Now, lots of negativity from these guys, the A10 group, Hammer, in the post-mission debrief. They didn't get used. They took off and they spent all the time we've been looking out, getting up to altitude. The task was to send them in at high altitude and drop GVUs. The reason is that we tried sending them in the previous mission down low and they got wiped out. They're too slow, they're too unstealthy, and they just couldn't get towards the base last time. So we were going to use them. We were going to wipe out the cap, get rid of tie the Mirages up and send the A10s in. And they didn't get used. So why didn't they get used? And we had a GCI commanding our forces, and it's these guys' fault. They didn't give him an opportunity to use him. Now, why do I say that? Well, this is clearly, you've got one base here, one base there. This base is almost infinitely defended. It's SAMs, it's AWACS, it's respawning Mirages. There is no way. It's clearly a fast strike mission. The only way you can do this mission is in a Mach 1, drop some bombs, and do your best to try and make it out. So why are these guys, and these are all experienced guys, and they should all know better, they're literally some of our most experienced guys, want to bring close air support aircraft. These close air support aircraft are 300 knot sailplanes that are designed to go slow, to loiter for long periods of time, to be unstealthy, and to help, to loiter and do close air support for ground troops. That's what it's designed for. None of that job description, or what the aeroplane is designed for, can relate to this mission. So somehow they think that they can be used to fly in at 300 knots and be some use. They can't. They'll never be used. You could run this mission 200 times. You'll never get an A10 near that base. So it's very disappointing. We give our pilots the choice of what aeroplanes they fly. Even if they make stupid decisions, that's their decision, because that's just how we are. We hope that they will choose the correct things. They could have used fast airstrike. We had Vigans that they could have used, fast airstrike craft. They had F5s they could have used, fast airstrike ground attack craft. They had Mirages they could have used, fast strike ground attack aircraft. But they were stubborn and they went for their A10s, and they didn't get used. And it's not GCI's fault; it's their fault for choosing bad aeroplanes. So if these guys are going to whinge, that's tough shit. It's their own fault. They should know better. And anyway, that's the end of that. They didn't actually do anything. And the last group is the Harriers. I'm not quite sure what happened here. I feel awfully sorry for these boys. So we've got 2 Harriers here, Blasty, Gumbo, both relatively new guys. Essentially, the mission broke down. As you can see, the cap all got shut down because reasons that we discussed earlier. The Mirages were never really truly tied up all the time for reasons we discussed earlier. The AWACS was never taken down for reasons we discussed earlier. So essentially these guys here never even made it to the runway. They were just sitting here waiting, basically. There's either of one of two reasons. A, the GCI forgot about them, which is unlikely. B, the GCI just the mission never got to the point where we could use these A-10s or use these Harriers. There was never a clear enough opening to send these aircraft in. That's probably what it was. So these guys have both whinged at me since, and that's fair enough because they didn't get to fly the aeroplanes. But the mission just didn't really know. To be honest, if it was me, if I was in control, I would have sent them in with the Vigans. I think they could have gone in with the Vigans with a low payload, 400 knots. I think they might have just made it. But that's, again, apples and pears. So fair enough, never mind, these things happen. So that's the end. I think it's a fantastic mission. It's caused a lot of bickering in our group, but it's a mission that we've really had to think about, and we can learn a lot from. We think we're going to change it in the future so that rather than having infinite respawns, the Mirages have just maybe one respawn each or something like that. So then, rather than keep respawning, would that have made any difference to this fight here? No, it wouldn't. Even if they only had one respawn, I think we only had 2 of these guys, or maybe 3 of these guys actually respawned. So it wouldn't have made any difference from this fight here. Anyway, the simple fact at the end is I couldn't shoot down the AWACS. The Daggerflight just weren't doing their job properly. They should have been tying up Mirages rather than getting dogfights and trying to shoot them down. Vigans, great job. You know, a couple of your guys fucked up. One guy crashed and one guy got lost. That's their own fault. These guys chose the wrong planes and they paid the price for it. Harriers were unlucky. I don't know why they just didn't get used. Shifty, perfect as ever, doing his job. And that's it. And the end is we got bombs on the runway. It wasn't really a blue win as such, but we did do our job of shutting down one of the runways, so that's good. Anyway, I can't go any longer. I hope that was enlightening for some people, and I'll see you later.